terms of like classical Greek tragedies and stories that we are familiar with in our time, movies, the final part, it's that end, it's the resolution, it's the end of the play, it's the end of the movie, it's the end of the story. And what happens? Well, all of these strands of the plot come together at that point, and everything is explained, and suddenly it all makes sense. We are at that point right now. And tail end of July, and into I'll say the last week of July, the first week of August is the setup for the denouement, and it unfolds quickly from there. What I was given were three. This was going to be a season of intensity, and that there were three main ideas in that. The first is that all will be shaken. The second is that all will be revealed. And the third is that all will be lifted up. And I'm going to share some immediate scripture passages that came to mind for myself, and I'm going to share those with you now, and then I'll have a little heart-to-heart with both divine feminine and divine masculine. So all will be shaken. Hebrews chapter 12. You guys have heard me cite this before. I love this chapter, and I think there are reasons it is so close to my heart, but all will be shaken. Hebrews chapter 12. I'm starting with verse 22, so well into this chapter. You might want to read the whole thing, but it says, "But you have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem. You have come to thousands upon thousands of angels in joyful assembly, to the church of the firstborn, whose names are written in heaven. You have come to God, the judge of all, to the spirits of the righteous made perfect, to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks a better word than the blood of Abel." The new covenant. "See to it that you do not refuse him who speaks. If they did not escape when they refused him who warned them on earth, how much less will we if we turn away from him who warns us from heaven? At that time his voice shook the earth. But now he has promised, once more I will shake not only the earth but also the heavens." The words "once more" indicate the removing of what can be shaken, that is, created things, so that what cannot be shaken may remain. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful, and so worship God acceptably with reverence and awe, for our God is a consuming fire. So key points there. Our God is a consuming fire, and that all created things will be shaken so that we can see what cannot be shaken. And that is the soul. That is our soul's truth and radiance. That is our soul star. That is the whole of who you are. And so if you are someone who has been unwilling to live your life from the unshakable kingdom first, and who has instead been putting your trust and faith in the shakeable things, the created reality that we as humanity have been so invested in and so enamored with, our own towers and our own creations, and myself included here. I'm not, I know that I'm coming across strong. I can feel the energy running through me, and it's for two reasons. It's very close to my heart, and it is it's personal. You'll understand more when I share more later about my own personal journey, but there's that part of it, and there's also that I really truly deeply feel that we are at that point here. We're at a break point. Many of us know we're at a point where there's been a split, and so all will be shaken. That's the first. All will be revealed. Jesus said around the time he was sharing the parable of the sower, where the seed is scattered and it lands in various places, and that's in Luke. I believe it's chapter 8, but I'm not certain of that. So look toward the middle of Luke if you want to find this. And in discussing that, Jesus said, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed. Nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought into the open." So in these various visions that I was given and the energetic downloads, it was very clear, and I've said this before, but it is very clear that all will be made known. And so what do? All will be revealed. That scares the pants off many of us, myself included for some things, right? But what you do is you right now, in this moment, sorry about that, right now, I've tried to record this several times, by the way, and, I'm just going to have to keep going. So right now, in this moment, you realign yourself with your soul's truth. And you realize that in this moment you may choose to be authentic and honest, and you just do it moment by moment by moment. You fix your eyes on that. You do not let yourself go chasing down the road of trying to cover up who you were before because you're afraid of the repercussions or the consequences. That will lead you astray. That will lead you away. That will be the cause of your great suffering. So, right up until the end of the movie, you can choose. Until the end of this drama, you can choose what role you want to play. Okay? And if you see that you've been playing a role that has been less than honest or less than aligned with the whole of who you are, then you may choose otherwise. And it may be hard. It will be hard. I'm being corrected there. It will be. And yet, in the revelation of all that has been, you may choose to stand where you choose to stand right now. We are given that grace. So don't ignore it. So all will be revealed, all will be shaken, all will be revealed, and all will be lifted up. In John chapter 12, Jesus said, and he was talking here about what was coming for him on his journey here. And he said, the hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Very truly, I tell you, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. Anyone who loves their life will lose it, while anyone who hates their life in this world will keep it for eternal life. Whoever serves me must follow me, and where I am, my servant also will be. My Father will honor the one who serves me. Now my soul is troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? No, it was for this very reason. I'm sorry, I got distracted. No, it was for this very reason I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name. Then a voice came from heaven. I have glorified it, and I will glorify it again. The crowd that was there and heard it said that it thundered. Others said an angel had spoken to him. Jesus said, the voice was for your benefit, not mine. Now is the time for the judgment of this world. Now the prince of this world will be driven out. And I, when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all people unto myself. He said this to show the kind of death that he was going to die. And the crowd spoke up and said, we have heard from the law of the Messiah that the Messiah will remain forever. So how can you say the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is this Son of Man? Then Jesus told them, you are going to have the light just a little while longer. Walk while you have the light before the darkness overtakes you. Whoever walks in the dark does not know where they are going. Believe in the light while you have the light, so that you may become children of light. When he had finished speaking, Jesus left and hid himself from them. So Jesus knew when he was sharing this with his closest followers and with those who were listening to this particular message, he knew what was ahead of him. He knew he would be lifted up, and he knew this was the denouement of that particular story. And he knew what the larger purpose of it was, the redemption, the redemption that he brought. And I don't want to make it sound like the traditional interpretation of that, but in any case, he knew that this was his soul's calling, and he made the very difficult choice. A lot of people make it seem that Jesus came down and he was God, so he just did the stuff, and it was all just like a shrug of the shoulders. No, it was a choice, and that choice point to allow the death so that there would be, instead of a single seed, there would be a multiplication of himself. That's what we're doing here. And all will be lifted up. And that lifting up requires those of us who are aware, who are on this journey, who are awake, and who understand the greater gift of God. And I use the word God, but life, if you know, the greater gift here that is unfolding. Those of us who understand that must be, we must, if we're going to serve God, then we must follow. And where God is, you know, there we will be. So, you know, I like this the way that John writes this particular passage. I like the way that, you know, he captures Jesus' humanity here. Now my soul is troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? Are we going to do that? Are we going to be like, oh, save me, help me, I want out? And sure, I and many of us have felt that. Or are we going to remember, no, it was for this very reason that we came. And so, God, glorify your name. You know, the voice from heaven that spoke at that time, you know, said, I have glorified it and I will. And that's what's happening right now. That's what this, you know, this third, all will be lifted up is about. All that rises must converge. This is about oneness. It's about a return to a pure and natural state of creation and recreation. And the purification, it's about the purification of who we are. That is required for there to be a resolution, for there to be a new kingdom, for the unshakable kingdom to be revealed. And this is the revelation of a mystery. And it's going to be intense. And yet that intensity, we must surrender to that. We must, and how do we surrender? How do we survive this? How do we move through this? Those of us who are, you know, on this path and you know, fairly attuned to what's going on. And, you know, think about those who aren't yet. It will be more intense for them. And we are called to be of service in this time, in this place, for those and for ourselves. And so the time for getting on board with the truth of what you know, it's, you know, the longer you wait, the more shaken, the more your life will be shaken by the events that unfold, and the more revelation that will be required, because you're stacking up more and more hidden things, secret things, more and more layers that are false, more and more illusions, more and more drama that does not serve the truth of the story. Because the denouement and the revelation is about a return to the pure and simple truth, the light and the life and the love that does exist beneath the story. So, and all will be lifted up. All will be shaken, all will be revealed, all will be lifted up. So I want to talk a little bit to divine feminine, divine masculine. Let's start with divine feminine. This is drawn from my personal experience and part of what was shown to me. And all of us, I just want to say, all of us are at different points on this journey, so it's very difficult to have one, to speak, you know, to all divine feminines are not in the same place. Clearly we can see that now. And, you know, along with this split in the larger sense of the reality in terms of humanity and the two pathways, there also has been within any given collective soul group, soul assignment, there has been, you know, a sort of a refinement and various choice points that, and there have been, you know, segments within that. And so it's really interesting. My mind can't wrap around science, but I feel like there's a convergence there too of all and it does have to do with the higher mind math, science, quantum stuff. No, it's not my area, but it's like it looks like it's going to hell, and it's like splitting into infinite particles and infinite pathways, and it feels like everything is breaking up, and in a sense it is, but it is all in that process coming together. It is all a resolution. It is all a lifting up. And so, divine feminine. So, do you see how this journey that you are making has been a gift? It has served in the difficult. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble finding the words. I'm seeing what they showed me, and having trouble finding the words. Also, I failed to mention that I just woke up and they were like, record this. So I'm like, still haven't had my shower. But, okay. Do you see in this journey that you've made, and the sacrifices and the one blow after the other, that in the surrender that has been required, that you have through that, and because you have allowed yourself to be on a trajectory where you have sought to be authentic and true to who you are. And this is not applying at all times to all divine feminines, but those of you who have, do you see what you have done? Do you see what you've done? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You have allowed that one single seed to be broken open. I often think of communion, which is a very, it is a sacrament to me, a sacred act. And in communion, we remember the body that was broken, the blood that was poured out. And it's blessed it's blessed, it's broken, and we are changed forever through it. And that's what's happened. We were blessed. Do you see? We were blessed. And we were broken and poured out. And it felt as if we were losing ourselves. And that played out in various ways for each of us. And because of this, we have been changed forever. And because we allowed ourselves to be given to this, the world is changed. And we have touched lives that we have no idea. This has been brought back to me very strongly. And I have on a personal level, I have a very, it's been a difficult journey in terms of, feeling deflated along the way, or feeling that, knowing that I'm here to scatter seeds, and it looks like a mess, and yet it also looks like I'm not being practical, which I'm not. Yet I know I've poured my heart out to God, and for the most part trusted the process, and I've dedicated myself to healing physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. Long, hard fought journey, because something kept propelling me toward returning to what had been lost or squandered at times, or violated or devalued. So there's the reclamation, the radical reclamation of the whole of who we are, that leads us into the radiant realization of who we are, and returns us to our rightful place as angels of the light, as beings of love, as here to experience life, and life to the full, to receive life, to give life. That cycle of giving and receiving. Do you see what you've done? On a spiritual level, those of us who have been faithful to this particular journey I'm sorry, I am dog sitting, so the little Pomeranians have loud voices. Maybe they're just trying to emphasize this point. Do you see what you have done? Do you see how those of you who have been faithful to what God has asked you to do, in some cases that has required great sacrifice, and if that's you, you know who you are, and you know, and God knows, and you know, some of us have been asked to do things that open us to, you know, lead us to be in a very vulnerable place and open us to mockery or rejection or, you know, other sorts of experiences that aren't exactly the ones that we might choose for ourselves. But do you see what you have done? See what you have done. Celebrate, you know, how far you've come, and stand in the truth and the light of that truth, radiant. Realize that your doing that only serves to benefit the world. And while you may feel sadness and that it hasn't all gone the way that you had hoped, or you know, you may feel still that the pain of separation, or you may feel even in a surrendered state, you may still feel, you know, kind of like what is the real truth of what's happening. You okay? All right. So just see what you have done. That was the biggest message for the feminine. And in terms of the lifting up, I was shown that something beautiful is coming, and that the way that we are meant to move through this denouement and this any catastrophe and or other experiences in terms of, you know, what is shaken, when things are shaken and revealed, and when things are lifted up, that our task is to remain true and steadfast to, in the moment, wherever you may find yourself, staying in that center still point of light and life and love, and bringing that to the situations. But it's really important to, again, to nurture that within yourself, and that does require, as many of us know, that does require space and honoring and self-love. So let me go ahead and move to the divine masculine. As I said, this world's at a breaking point, and those of you who are called and know deep within yourself that you have been called to be a part of this resolution through the surrender of what you might think you desire for your life. It's now. Now is the time, and I guarantee you that in September nothing will look the same. Whichever choice you make, and you're needed. And I don't really care what you think about the words twin flame, which I'm not crazy about either. So, or the you know, that there could possibly be this higher calling. You know, it's time that you take 5 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, whatever the heck it takes, to connect with the truth of who you are. You cannot stay in this cycle of avoidance. Well, you can, but as you've seen recently, and I know that many of you have felt, and my heart goes out to you because of because I know what it's like. It's been quite a while, but I know what it's like to resist and to choose to be stubborn and obstinate and to want to change the story. Damn it, I want it my way. I want to create my own end to this story. And in some ways we are given the freedom to choose the roles we play again, or to choose even some of what we allow into our particular story of our life. And yet God's will is unfolding, and there is clearly divine intervention at play. And many of you have experienced that. And there is there is the opportunity for anyone to know now, if they choose to allow that knowing, that something much larger is unfolding, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful. Do you see the barriers you have built against love? Do you see all of these things that you have created, constructed, built, erected? And have you evaluated, can you see with the eyes of your heart, and can you come to that honestly and look at it and really ask to be shown the true value of the things, yes, but of you. Of you. You are not those things. You. Where's your unshakable kingdom? Maybe it's time to connect with that. You know, Rumi said, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within you that you have built against it. This was a big part of what I was shown happening, and it's essentially the unfolding of this larger story in terms of all will be shaken, all will be revealed, all will be lifted up. That story is playing out in your individual lives, in all of our individual lives, and it is a purification, and it is happening now, and so that all of those are, you know, a part of this larger unfolding for humanity. And yes, I would like to say that the systems and structures of society are also going through this. So this is all happening on multiple levels right now. So do you see the barriers you have built against love? And when you see them, what will you choose to do? What will you choose? It is your choice. It is your choice. And do you see how all the things you've pushed away are the true treasure? This is quite a beautiful part of what I was shown in the download last night, which was extremely powerful and emotional. And Yeshua was there for each of you, divine masculines. And he reached in to each one of your lives. And from this it was like a city, you know, like it was one of those Star Wars like cities, right? Where there's like stuff going everywhere, you know, there's like these, you know, little, what do you call those little cars that zip around the futuristic stuff, you know what I'm talking about, little conveyor things. Anyway, and it was a very sophisticated city. It's a very sophisticated things that you have created and built, and all that which you have been, your pride has been there, or you have had greed because you wanted more and more and more, and to maybe prove something, your worth or your skill. And so Jesus was there, and he reached in to that mess. Beautiful mess. A beautiful mess. It's a beautiful mess you've created. But he reached in and he pulled out a pearl, and he returned it, a gift. He returned it to each divine masculine. And he said, here, know now who you are. Do you see how you're meeting that knowing with honesty, even when it's really difficult to do? Do you see how that will lead you to the unshakable kingdom, how that will lead you to the truth? If you return to that pearl, that treasure, that gift, whatever image you know resonates with you, fix your eyes on that. You are worthy as you are, just as you are. And you know, there is support for you here in terms of the divine, always. here, God will give you the support that you need. And I also want to say, though, that, based on what I was shown, that just because you have made more positive decisions in perhaps recent weeks, months, years of your life, and you are seeking to live from integrity and honesty, that doesn't mean that, kind of you're off scot-free. And some of you are angry about that. But the truth is, you reap what you sow. And there is a reaping of the whirlwind. I spoke about that in an earlier video, I believe it was April or May. And that reaping of the whirlwind is happening. It is a part of the story that will unfold. And so things that were done in secret are being revealed. And that's just the way it is. And so it is incumbent upon you now to return to your whole heart and to live with full integrity right now, and to understand you are not those things that you did, or you are not those choices that you made. Keep your eyes upon what is most true. Fix your eyes upon Jesus, if that is something that you're able to connect with right now. And if not Jesus, then keep your eyes on that treasure, the whole of who you are. Keep your eyes fixed upon the higher things, because that is who you are. That is why you are here right now. There's something for divine masculines that I want to address, which is that, it does, I believe, have to do with this past choices, this path that you've walked, and it's been difficult, and you've done the best that you could. But there's a danger of slipping into keeping your eyes fixed on that, the mistakes. And no mistake can be your grave unless you so choose. That's one of the seeds for life from my 90 Days to Life. No mistake can be your grave unless you so choose. And I'm asking you to choose to fix your eyes on something else, not on the past, which of course it's all happening at once, but not on that. Not on those choices that are essentially like those towers that you constructed one way or another, but instead to return to that pearl. Because the danger is that if you do not understand, if you don't get this now, that it's time now to focus on the heart, if you don't, then there's a danger of you dissipating and being lost in a flood of sorrow, depression, darkness, and this could continue for a long time because the river could sweep you away. And when that happens, the world suffers, not just you and those around you in your life, but the world suffers because you are here to be in service to the Most High God. And you are here to live, not die. To die to self, to die to ego, and in so doing, to allow your life to be multiplied, blessed, broken, to be changed forever. And in that transformation that occurs, to, as you are being that change, to in fact effect the change that you have so desired to effect, but you've been doing it through a prideful, many of you, not all of you, but through a way of seeing yourself as a god, essentially. Even those of you who believe that you have been in service to God, there are times in which that you've been led astray, and the sometimes unknowingly. We talked about earlier in some videos about how a portion of divine, not all, but a portion of divine masculines have in fact been compromised or led astray. So if that, just ask and it will be given. Ask for the support you need. Trust that all is well, that you are well, Remind yourself of this, okay? The self-judgment, the self-pity, the running around scrambling, trying to cover up mistakes is not, it's a waste of your energy and a waste of time. And it will lead you farther from the role that you're here, the true lifted role that you are here to play, because who you are is an angel of light, and who you are is a gift to this world. And it is a gift of inestimable value. So I was shown that toward the end, when we get through all of these events in August and all of the energetic shifts that will happen for each of us individually, I was shown that there will be two worlds. And which world do you want to live in? Which world do you want to live in? What God do you want to serve? Do you want to serve the God that perhaps some of you have been serving, which is, essentially the God of this world, the Prince of Darkness? Or do you want to stand hand in hand with your brothers and sisters of the light who are here? What did that verse say? You are going to have the light just a little while longer. Walk while you have the light before darkness overtakes you. Whoever walks in the dark does not know where they are going. Believe in the light while you have the light, so that you may become children of light. We are children of light, and there is a spiritual darkness that descends now on all of those who have chosen not to acknowledge that that light. We are called to be in the world, but not of it, to shine our lamps. Cities set on a hill. Read the rest of that chapter. It was actually I'm going to have to look that up. I'll try to put it below in the comments. It may be in that parable in Luke that I was referring to about the sowing of the seeds, and then after that, and in any case, there is a place in the Gospels where Jesus talks about, let your light so shine before men. And many of us, divine feminine and divine masculine, have been afraid to let our lights so shine before men. And when we have not been afraid, we've wondered, did it matter? And I'm saying, yes, it matters. That's what I was shown of all of, that I was shown here. Yes, it matters. Yes, you matter. Yes, this is vitally important. And yes, this story is unfolding one way or the other. All is being and will be shaken. All is being and will be revealed. All is being and will be lifted up.